All right. So now we're going to talk about some more mistakes that Louis XVI made when he became the King of France. The first one, and call it the icing on the cake because there's going to be a reason, and you'll figure it out in our next lecture, is Jacques Necker was the king's financial advisor. And he was really seen as like the mediator between the working class, like the third estate, and the nobility, the aristocracy, the second estate. And so the people in Paris believed that Necker could be the guy that would help them with the rising cost of simple items like bread, or maybe that burden of taxes, he would help ease that, or maybe he would even help with the debt that they're all feeling. Well, keep in mind, Louis is not in Paris. He's at the Palace of Versailles, 11 miles away. And when Necker brings these ideas to Louis, Louis gets really frustrated because he's also dealing with maybe sending money over to the American Revolution, to these patriots who are rebelling against Great Britain, because he kind of likes that Great Britain might lose. And so when Necker says, maybe not, instead, Louis is going to fire him, and then there's just going to be more suspicion in Paris when the people get word, and it's going to cause riots and break-ins and some serious unrest. So Louis fires Necker, the one guy that gave the Third Estate hope. Then, this is the event that really starts the French Revolution. So the Bastille was a 14th century prison. And on July 14, 1789, something big happens. There were rumors that were circulating that there were a whole bunch of political prisoners that were being held at this prison in Paris. In reality, there were actually only 7 inmates in the giant prison, and none of them were there for like speaking out against the government or anything like treasonous. Okay, so how it starts is this guy, Camille Desmoulins, his nickname is the Lantern Lawyer because he's a guy that could hang right out by a street lantern and he could convince anyone to do anything. And when he would be talking, people would stop and listen. And one of the other reasons is they call him the Lantern Lawyer is he talked about hanging nobility, wealthy people, from the lamp post or the lanterns. A little bit more violent. Well, Camille Desmoulins was at a restaurant in Paris, like I think one of those like outdoor beautiful restaurants with a patio, and he starts talking about these political prisoners that are at the Bastille and that we need to go, we need to storm the Bastille and free these prisoners. And oh yeah, the Bastille wasn't just a prison, it was also where the French government kept like their arsenal. So it was like a fort, kept their weapons there as well. So he gets a whole bunch of people excited. The mob enters the Bastille. They kill the head guard. They kill another guard, cut off their heads, and then put their heads on pikes and carry them around the town in celebration. Again, I mentioned that the first day with like the guillotine. Why they love to put heads on pikes, I don't know, but it's what they did. And so crowds just attacked the Bastille and they took all the weapons they could and freed those, I guess, lucky 7 prisoners that, again, weren't there for anything politically. And so what Louis does is he goes, oh, okay, I'll put Jacques Necker back in power. That'll make people happy again. But that attempt had little impact on the rioting. And so this is going to cause, which is like the great fear, in which peasants are going to attack nobility, peasants are going to revolt. They're walking around like fully armed. They got weapons from the Bastille or any type of weapon they could find. And now we'll start the French Revolution. Eventually, Louis is going to try to give people rights called the Declaration of the Rights of Man, which is going to guarantee some of those rights from the Enlightenment, like liberty and property, that the National Assembly will adopt. However, it's going to be a little too late for Louis, as there's more to come with his story.